Hey, what's going on, guys? Hidden Figures is one of those movies that sort of, I feel, came out of nowhere. I'd never heard of this movie before, like, the beginning of January, which was kind of weird because, it got all the Oscar nominations and everything, and I wasn't expecting it at all because I was sort of sat in the cinema one day and the trailer just came on, and I was like, okay, I've never heard of this movie. It looks pretty cool, but, it's just another one of those movies that I'm gonna see and probably forget about. Because I did not know the story. I didn't know this was based on a true story. I didn't know any of these characters in this movie or real life people, whatever way you want to put it. So when this movie got announced at the Oscars, I was like, holy crap, this came out of nowhere. It felt like that movie they just sort of threw in because they didn't know what else to put in there. But obviously I wasn't going to judge it on that until I saw the movie. And then they had an unlimited card screening last night, so I went to it. And I gotta say, this movie was pretty sweet. I really liked Hidden Figures. Now, the story is very interesting, actually, and I'm glad I know the story now. I like that with movies because, like I mentioned with Hacksaw Ridge, I didn't even know anything about Desmond Doss. I didn't know that, he was that guy that went into war with no weapons, and I didn't know any of that. And with this movie, I knew obviously about the space program, about NASA, sending the first American into space, all that stuff, but I didn't know what went on behind the scenes. And the three women in this movie are very important to the space program. And it was great that I now know that because, it's good to know that sort of history. And I love knowing history through movies. And that is one of the biggest, praises I can give this movie. And I guess that's what the movie was going for. So there we go. But the plot is basically that there's these three women, segregation's happening in America, blacks and whites being separated. And these three women, black women, it's black women aren't usually seen in the space program and all that sort of stuff. It's pretty rare, but they're working there, and it's like, they have to, like, sort of. You've got this one central character, Catherine Goebel, and she's like really smart and she knows everything to do with numbers and all that sort of stuff. And they put her into the space program to, you know, sort out the numbers and sort out the algorithms of space and everything. And it's like while they're doing that, they're trying to overcome this segregation that's happening, and it is just so good. Everything about this movie, there's not a dull moment. I was there and I was really enjoying everything that was happening. There's funny moments, there's really sort of sad moments. There's a really good speech by Taraji P. Henson, and I got to give it to her. She gave such a good performance in this movie. I know Octavia Spencer got nominated for an Oscar for this movie, but I think they really did snub Taraji P. Henson because she was absolutely brilliant in this film. She was by far the best part of this movie. I really liked her. Like I said, she had this speech and you just saw the emotion on her face and you were feeling, oh crap, this is going down. She's got some real good points here, and you're watching it and you're like, why wasn't she nominated for an Oscar? Octavia Spencer was fine, and Janelle Monáe, she was very good as well. All three of these ladies give very, very good performances, but I gotta say, Taraji P. Henson just stood out to me, and she stole my heart in this movie, and that's what this movie did best. It stole my heart, and it threw me in there, and I was like, yeah, this is a story that I'm really glad that I'm finding out about gradually, because, with a true story movie, it's like there's not really any surprises. You know what's going to happen and you're watching it. But with this, I knew nothing, and that's a lot of the true story movies. I like not knowing the story before I see the movie, because it's like, it's incredible that this really did happen. So, yeah, that was great. I mean, there is a romance subplot involving Taraji P. Henson's character, which was sort of thrown in there. I mean, I was glad that Mahershala Ali was in this movie. He was in it a lot more than he was in Moonlight, but I was glad he was in the movie. He gave a good performance, but it was like, it sort of felt a little thrown in there, and that sort of slowed the movie down, because while I was watching it, I was like, okay, this is fine, but I want to see more of that NASA stuff. But I guess, the romance probably happened in real life. We've got to see it happen on the screen. So I guess you can't really complain about something like that if it really did happen. But I'm just saying that sort of slowed the movie down slightly for me. Other than that, I don't really have any major complaints about this movie at all. The movie was very enjoyable. It was interesting. It was fascinating. Seeing things unfold on the screen, it really was engrossing, and there really was a lot to love with the performances. Everyone's great. Kevin Costner's very good. Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, Jim Parsons, he's in this movie. He's a complete dickbag, but he was very good in the movie. Kirsten Dunst, surprisingly, was good in this movie, and I haven't seen her good in anything since, well, I mean, she was fine in Fargo, but I mean, what has she been in since Spider-Man? Nothing really, so she was good in the movie. When I saw the trailer, I thought her accent would get on my nerves, but they don't really play on it, so it's fine. She doesn't have, like, the hugest role in the movie, so whatever. Yeah, everyone's great in this movie. The humor's great. I gotta give props to the guy sitting behind me. Like every time something just slightly funny would happen, he'd be cracking up behind me, and I'd be like, "Oh God!" Like I think there was this one line that Taraji P Henson said about not being Russian or something, and this guy was just cracking up, and it was like, "My God, brilliant!" But it's good that they did put humor into this movie as well. They could have made it a very sort of depressing movie, I guess, but I'm glad that, and the soundtrack as well. The soundtrack was another thing I feel like got snubbed. I feel like they should have took the score for Passengers and said no, we're gonna put the score for Hidden Figures there instead because it was so much better than the score for Passengers. But whatever, what can you do? I mean, you can't win it all. So yeah, the soundtrack is great. Pharrell Williams did a very good job with that. Really good story, really good performances. And this is the sort of movie that I could see myself watching again. I probably won't buy it on Blu-ray or anything because it's not that movie that really stood out. You know, it's not like a movie that I passionately love or anything. But it's a movie that I could watch again. It's a movie that I could enjoy again. And it's a movie I recommend people see. And it's good that this was a PG movie because it means that kids can now see this as well. And I'm glad that they can show this story to everyone because stories like this are really stories that I feel like everyone should know. So that was good. So I got to give it to Hidden Figures. It was a very good movie. Surprising because I didn't know anything about it before like the middle of January. So I'm glad that, you know, it had that unlimited release so I could go and check it out. So let me know what you guys think of Hidden Figures. What did you like? What did you not like? You know how it works. Comment sections down below. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.